Oh my gosh. I have Fridays and Saturdays off. I'm always ready for the weekend by
Good for
then.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So awesome. Very good. Very
Is it
good.
live or is it going live?
We're live. We're live, baby. We
I
are
can't see.
LIVE
Oh,
live.
there we go. Now I see us.
So yeah.
Whoops, sorry. I got to mute it. Or our delay. Okay. Perfect.
So powerful. Mute me. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
have phone.
Mute in me.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly.
Mute in me. Yeah.
How's your weather?
Oh, it's beautiful out here.
Oh,
It's supposed to on Saturday get about 28 to 30 degrees.
oh, okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
right now I think it was 20 when I was out today. So
Yeah. Well, until we got a storm that just came through, it's about 20 minutes of destruction. But before that, it was super humid, but that seems to have made the temperature more tolerable. So good and bad, right?
yeah, we had rain, severe rain warnings Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah,
So well,
good.
welcome everybody.
Welcome. Glad you're
Yeah.
here. If
You
you're
get to
new,
listen to a bit of banter as we're getting going.
yeah, exactly. Thanks for mentioning that. That's exactly how we start. We start sort of casual, just sort of connect because we haven't spoke either all week. So we sort of just connect while everybody gets, a moment to get comfy, get their drink, whatever it is that you like to do in the evening. And then we get into our topic. I think we really sort of found our groove with this. That's what I think, anyways. And
Yeah.
it's our group, so they can't tell us we're wrong.
Well, I try to like sometimes what Michelle and I think are redundant, like just talking, like setting up the people that have been following us for a while. They know what we're going to say, like at the beginning. But I always remember there's new people. Like Michelle
That's
just did a
right.
shout out for new people, right?
Mhm.
So just to give a bit of a background. So Michelle and I are siblings, of course, and of course I'm the elderly stated sibling,
Right.
and so our just through life experience and things that we've learned, through our experiences and helping others and stuff like that, we just came to this idea of starting a group, and
Mhm.
Michelle being in the East, me being in the West, that we can talk about mental wellness. And our mental wellness will meander into things like today we're talking about decluttering. Decluttering may not be something we're talking about like internally, maybe externally, which helps us internally. But part of what we're like, we just feel like this is just the right time to be sharing our experience and our knowledge, things that we've learned. We're not doctorates. We don't have a bachelor's degree. We both have certification in different things, but we just want to, you know, learn from each other and help people.
Yeah, exactly. And excuse me if I'm misspeaking, but I'm pretty sure I'm certified in awesome and you're certified in fabulous.
Yeah, I have a C, I have a CF, and you have a C.
A Canadian
Awesome, right? That's right.
awesome.
I see.
Canadian.
This is how awesome we are. We can't even do the alphabet, right? The
That's
other thing too, because Michelle invited a lot of people, and this last while, and I've been inviting people out here, and we understand we have people that have different. We're different places. So I just want to set some of the guidelines. Is this group? Michelle and I are talking. We really share out of our experiences. We don't kind of try to sell you anything. And we have people in the group that have maybe different convictions or faith or lifestyle or any of these things. This is a safe group. That's why it's a closed group. This is a group where we don't come with an agenda like that. If you share stuff in the group page or even comments while we're live, share. It's been so good. Just I want to thank the group, but just it's really a place of not telling people how they should live and what to do. It's really like when we share our story with each other and our journey, it helps us.
That's right.
So that's kind of a baseline just in case anybody's interested.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Um, and I think, it's like that old hashtag better together. We're sharing, we're growing, we're learning, and we're learning from you as much as you're learning from us.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? It's a crying shame to have this much knowledge and not share it. Just like and this is for everybody. Like right? Like Alan's with us this week. Hello, Alan. Nice to have you with us. And her experience is different than my experience, different that, right? And so on and so forth. So maybe that one little nugget that I really need to hear today, maybe it's going to go in the chat, right?
Right.
You never know. So before we get serious, let's just go through some questions. So as Tom touched on briefly, we also, for the two of us, we're recreating a relationship. Yeah, Lisa, better together, hashtag. So Tom and I were not raised together. So this is the most relationship we've had, I think, in the last, well, I'm 30, he's 32. So in many years. So we do these questions at the beginning. It's like a getting to know you, which is good. Feel free to share in the chat as well if that interests you. So Tom, pants or shorts?
Shorts. If I could wear, if I could, I'm a territory sales manager for a coffee company.
Mhm.
And if I can get away with going in a t-shirt and shorts to a customer, I do it. And where I live in Chilliwack, we're about an hour outside of Vancouver. We have a beautiful place called Cultus Lake. I think Michelle's been here.
I have.
I have a couple places like a water park. And so I'm owning stuff here. And if you're my friend, I apologize. Like if somebody who knows me, I do a little bit of a fib. So I'll show up and say the customer's short something or needs, I don't know, whatever they need, right? And it could be a Friday. And I'm not paid by the hour. I'm paid to bring profitability and growth to our company. And so I'll go up with my t-shirt and shorts and sandals and say, hey, I'm not really on today, but I want to help you out. So I look like a good guy. Now my company me going, hey, aren't you supposed to be on the clock? I'm going to get buried in shorts.
Are you okay? Good to know. Well,
and then cremated. Just so
okay, well, good. I'll write that down. I'll write
okay.
that down. And you know what? You tell your company if you paid me more, I could afford pants.
There you go.
Just throw it out there.
I have to wear pants. I can't get away. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Question? Exactly. Okay. Next question. Oranges or apples?
We had that one before.
Well, answer it again. Did I really? I'm usually pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that one.
We'll do a different one. Some of them I know because I'm getting to know you better. Okay.
Make one up. Don't go by a list.
Board games or card games?
Oh, that's not fair. I like both. And it depends who you're with.
Yeah. Beat them easily.
I was raised with my grandparents that were play every Saturday. We play cards around the table. They would play. So I remember watching them. So I don't mind getting in the odd like at home poker tournament.
Nice.
And I do it for small stuff. It's not really about the money. You know what it's about? And this is what I love about people. It's so board games are the same, by the way. So I'm meandering the answer.
Okay.
To me, it's not trash talking, but it's about the psychological component of the game, right?
Right.
So I don't care if I win, right?
Okay.
I don't care if I win. I don't care. But if I'm not a jerk too. But anyways, it'd probably be cards.
Okay. Yep. I would say I wasn't raised with a lot of games. My parents adopted me when they were in their 30s. They were all tuckered out from my brothers. We didn't do those things. So,
and they're English. And
they're British. Yeah.
British.
So we're short on fun all the way around. No fun, no hugs, which is so funny. No hugs, no telling each other you love each other. None of that was going on. I played by myself a lot. I was really good at it though. But I would have to say, as I got older and out of the house, I started playing more games, euchre and 21 and blackjack and I don't know, just different things. Dice. Do you know how to play dice?
Spades, hearts.
Yeah, right, exactly. Asshole, isn't that one? Anyways,
I don't know that one.
You wouldn't know. Anyway, but yeah, so I would have to go with cards as well. Okay, and then last question, because we usually do three. I think you're right. We have done a bunch of these.
Well,
Okay, so,
I'll ask you one and then I'll respond.
okay, do it.
Hot weather or cold weather?
I'm gonna go with cold weather because I can add on things. I cannot pull my skin off.
So you'd rather go on a cruise to Alaska than a
I
cruise to
think
Mexico?
so. I think so. And then humidity really kicks my ass. So I think so. What's your answer?
Um, I would say I would I'm like you in a way. I have a humidifier on all the time. I just like a bit of like I like a little bit of moisture in the air. We're not
Yep,
too dry here in the interior of BC. It is.
right.
See, I want to travel, so I don't think of like cruises and all that. Where I want to travel, like in Europe or Middle East, like Spain and that, it's hot. So it would be hot.
Hot. Yeah, yeah. We all have
Not
our
live there.
no, right. Just to visit.
And if you're British in the group, I don't know a lot of people in the group right yet. I always think it's my sister's twin is in the group. But when I was in England, and I don't know, this is whatever they're just not into games a lot, right?
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah, yeah.
We played a game where they had like sticks or round pieces of wood in a field, and like you would throw something at it, like a rock, and hit it down. And I remember going to this elderly couple. They were so nice. They were right outside of Glastonbury. So if people like music, if you are amazing music fan, Glastonbury Festival is like
Oh,
so
amazing.
they were about 15 miles from the festival and they could hear it when it was on.
Wow.
And and then the first year, sidebar, free information, the first year Glastonbury did a festival, I can't remember in the 60s. Johnny Cash was their main star.
Oh,
So
wow.
Coldplay, U2, Queen, everybody's been there, right?
That's amazing.
So they would throw this thing at sticks, like it looks like bowling, but they just had weird names, so they weren't very creative, creative in their games.
Well, they're busy dodging the rain and the fog.
And
That's what's
drinking
going on up
tea.
there. And drinking tea and scones and jam. I
Yeah,
had a lot of that growing up. Scones, jam, and meringues. My mom,
clotted clotted cream,
was that?
clotted cream.
No, that just sounds so wrong on so many.
British, look it up.
Yeah, I'm not. Might have pictures. That sounds horrible. Absolutely horrible. That's so funny, but it's so interesting, when we talk about our lives as an adult, that foundation that was created as a child influences everything, right? Whether it's your food choices, your activity levels, preconceived ideas of, you know, well, I'm not healthy because nobody in my family is healthy.
Yeah,
That's really handy and easy, right? And takes zero effort to maintain. So I think looking back, even though, having a little laugh or whatever, it's okay to say these people just like in this part of the world or whatever, they did things a little bit different. And that was just their way. Same as it's funny, I was speaking to somebody else, I think it was on a Zoom meeting, and they were saying about no hugs. Nobody said they loved them. And I go, oh, were your parents British? They're like, no, Scottish. They're different island, same pond, right? So
yeah,
it's just, yeah, I think it's the way we're raised. And then if we want to continue with that, absolutely fine. If we don't want to continue with it, that's where change starts,
yeah.
right?
One of my friends is Scottish, and he's not part of the group, so I can say it. And it's funny because he'd have two names, first name and last name,
Hmm.
and I don't know if that's a typical Scottish thing. And being French Canadian, we got like five names in case I don't know we lost a name or something, or maybe we need an alias. I don't know. I have no idea. And but he would be huggy feely after a couple of pints.
Yep, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
the thing I was going to say when you were saying that, but because um, I got to think of rewording it because it'll make more sense. We've talked a bit about this before. We are change is hard for most of us.
Yeah.
And the older we get and the ruts in our life, we're talking about decluttering, so it's going to go into this a little bit.
Yep.
The ruts in our brain, like Michelle said, if you're if you're raised, like I was raised not to cry. If
Right.
I
Yeah.
cried from my uncles, my dad, and my stepdad, um, you're not a man,
That's right.
right? So you would stuff your feelings, and in that generation, so I'm in my early 60s, so you think in the 80s, that not even just British, that was just really Dutch and all of that's just the way it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so part of what happens is wherever you are now, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, 60s or older, we're defined by experience and we're
Yep.
defined by information
Right.
and or knowledge, right? So when we the older we get, and I do again work with helping people like Michelle does, like we're in this industry, I guess. And what happens is it's you get people that need just encouragement and help, and we try to give them tools or like help them work through trauma, whatever it is, right? And I tell people, like I do work with addiction, with people in addiction, and I'll tell you, um, the physical addiction, and you know this, Michelle, as me and your ex-smokers, again, raised
Yep,
differently.
for sure.
The physical component for the majority of the time is the easier addiction. Like it's easier to deal with addiction to smoking, sugar, narcotics, whatever it is, right? Fentanyl, that, and some of them are harder. But it's actually, in my experience, the
Yes.
mental. If you were raised and felt that you were worthless or traumatized or experienced brutality in the home, these are hard things. But here's the good news, and we're talking about decluttering. Here's the great news: we all have the ability to change.
Oh, no. Hold on. Hold on.
What?
My mouse is crazy. Carry on. Sorry for the
Yeah,
interruption.
she's got a crazy mouse. Yeah, so the reality is, um and sometimes the experience, like for me at this age, being able to look back and go, man, I wish I knew some of the stuff in my 30s or 40s, right? I wish I dealt with some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I couldn't deal with, like I've shared in the group. I had cancer 8 years ago. I had colon cancer, and after surgery, I was just traumatized. My body wasn't, so I was severely depressed. Right? I can't put that in my 20s. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
But there's this thing about, and Michelle's, this is her topic. The thing is, and Michelle, I'll let you lead in here in a second. Learning to not, like, actually people who declutter in a practical way around the home, there could be different things. It actually has an emotional and mental, I don't know what the word is, like it affects us that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And part of learning to, like, bad thoughts, negativity, Michelle talks all the time, learning to put that away, declutter, and if it comes back, put it away, right? So we
Yeah.
have the power. And if you don't, if you have a shitty day, relapse, whatever it is, then don't let that go into day 2, 3, 4, 5, a month,
That's right.
right? So what do you used to call it? Stinky thinking or something like that?
Stinking thinking. That's right.
Stinking thinking. There we go. Okay. So
That's
here
right.
you go, Michelle. There's your lead in.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this week I wanted to share. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now. There's something going on with my mouse. Sometimes it won't click at all. Sometimes it clicks 2 or 3 times. It is not my mouse that's the
Hey,
problem. It's
you
the
want one of these?
yeah. Throw it over to Ontario, will you? Oh my gosh, that's so, yeah, exactly. Pass it on the screen. So I'm going to share a video today, and it's just a few minutes. And some of you might have seen it because I have shared it before with other things that I've done, but I want you to pay specific attention to the emotions that she talks about. So I'm going to track that at the same time. And let's see if I can do this properly. And I'm going to trust that Tom is going to give me a thumbs up that you guys can hear it fine. So hold on a second. And there we go. Okay. Oh, there's my mouse again.
You can hear it.
Perfect.
can't I let go of all this stuff? You can't let go of this? But if I don't know what it is, then I can let go of it, right? No. You can't let go of this. What if you find the thing that this belongs to and you need that to work with this and that won't work because you don't have this? But what is the that I need? I don't know, but I've got a whole box of thises and that's, and if you let go of any of it, I'm afraid something terrible might happen. And what are you doing with all these toys? Well, I just thought maybe you should play with the children some more. Well, the children are teenagers and they haven't touched these toys in a decade. Well, they do grow up so fast, don't they? Well, yes, but anyway, they're all grown up and they have their own friends and their own interests. I'm just saying that maybe if you played with them more then, they'd be spending more time with you now. I'm gonna go see who that is. Don't answer it. You don't know who that could be. I'm sure I'll be fine. And don't let them in. This house is a mess. Oh, hey, Happiness. It is such a beautiful day, and I brought you these. Yeah, thanks, but, actually, I don't have a place to put these right now. So, I was hoping you might invite me in. Actually, I've got company right now. Are anxiety and guilt here? Yes. How did you know that? Because they were here when I came over here yesterday. Yep. And the day before that, and the day before that. So anxiety and guilt must be so much fun to hang out with. Well, actually they're not, like, at all. Oh, then why are they always here? You know, that's a really good question, and I think I know the answer. Can you wait right here? I always do. You know, anxiety, I know you're trying to protect me from every possible thing that could go wrong, but when happiness is here, I sort of feel like whatever happens, I can deal with it. And guilt, I know that you just want me to be the best possible person, but when happiness is here, I actually feel like I am a good person. So I think I'd like to invite happiness in. Happiness? Like happiness ever sticks around for more than 5 minutes. Am I right? Who let cynicism in? I let myself in, like I need your permission. See, I knew you couldn't take care of yourself. If only you'd listened to your mother. That's it. I need all of you out of here now. Hey, come on in, happiness. I'm sorry about all this clutter. Guilt and anxiety always leave such a mess. Oh, I can declutter this in no time. Anyway, I brought compassion and courage to help me. You know, you can only start where you are. You've totally got this, champ. You know, with happiness, compassion, and courage, I really feel like I can do this. Let's get decluttered.
Let's get decluttered.
Can you share that video on the page? Because I know some people I want to share it with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's a book promo. A friend of mine, nothing to do with my work, but a friend of mine for other motivational speaking things I used to do, shared it. And I've kept it ever since. It's probably a great book. I didn't catch what it was called. I think it's called The Breathing Room. It's the name of the book. I'll definitely share it. And the reason why, even if you've seen it before, I thought like those emotions are so true. The anxiety, right? Like, why do we keep all this stuff? Is it, especially if we feel anxious over it? Do we feel like, do you have a basket of phone chargers?
Probably. Here, you want to see what I have?
Yeah, I do. Oh, okay. Are you playing with those? Tell the
You
truth.
recognize? No, they're on my mantle on the top. Now, these, I haven't had them for years. I've been buying them the last year or two.
Yep.
I have no idea. I don't know if it's uh, um, therapy. I don't know. I don't have tons. I probably have like 15, and I give them away. But yeah, I have. So that's not part of my clutter, but I do have some phone cables and things that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're keeping something because you're collecting it, then that's a little bit different. I collect rocks. I collect fairies. I collect siblings, apparently. I collect a lot of things. But I also have a junk drawer. I have a lot. We have a big house that every couple of years, actually, we rent a dumpster and we're ready again. Because between Robert upstairs, Alec downstairs, me and Al on this floor. It's amazing what we accumulate. And with the garbage the way it's set up, 3 bags a week. So there's a lot of things that get missed. But it's important that we do have a clear area because we feel mentally fresh, clean, in charge, right? A lot of times when you see a lot of clutter, it creates that mental chaos and we feel stressed, and then easily we can turn a slip into a slide where we end up like, screw it, why even bother, right? If you ever watched, you ever watch The Hoarders on A&E?
Not much, but I know the show.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have. Yeah, and that's the extreme, right? I watch that every once in a while. And yeah, it really is the extreme, but when you think about, they're always dealing with something else. There's all, whether it's being in lack, being food insecurities, sometimes that's a part of it. Sometimes they've had a loss. I watched one not too long ago, and I think that's what made me think about that we should do this as a topic repeatedly. This is a great repetitive topic. And her partner had died suddenly, and she couldn't get rid of anything. Everything was a keepsake. So then coming up with strategies, right? In the weight loss industry, quite often we talk about, like, if you don't plan on being that bigger size, what are you saving your clothes for?
Right.
Like, really, seriously, right? Or if you're saving keepsakes for your kids, do you need one of everything? You could have one, whatever, right? Or you could make a collage or take a picture. We've talked before about, oh my gosh, inheriting antiques. That's a big one, right? Where, somebody saves them up and then they have no value now and you don't want to use them for whatever reason. Maybe they're too precious. And so we hold on to them because it's special to the person who, gave them to us, or we inherited it, but it doesn't serve us well. So maybe, like, taking a select few, putting it in a special cabinet, letting the rest go. So knowing that we were talking about this today, and anybody who's watching, if you have tips and tricks, please share in the chat, because there's lots of ways, there's lots of cluttering professionals that have different ideas and techniques. I know there's been quite a few on Netflix where people have shared or they've been shared, and they have their own different strategies. The one that I came across online was a 2020 rule. If you can replace something in less than 20 minutes for less than $20, let it go. I thought that was interesting, especially with Amazon. You could literally get anything delivered that you could order in 20 minutes, right? The other one that I've seen that's a pretty popular one, if you haven't used something in a year, then what are you saving it for, right? Sometimes people don't necessarily like I can't. I've been a minimalist with my clothes for a long time. Hence, you see me in the same stuff all the time. Um, but actually, I started being a minimalist in clothing when I learned about third world countries and at whose expense it is that our clothes are provided. That was what started me reining it in. But one of the tips with that is put all your hangers one way. Whenever you're taking something off, switch the hanger around to put it back, and that's going to give you a clear indicator of what you're not wearing very regularly. Uh, the other thing is, and I love that this came up in the video, you don't even know what it's for. We've all got those things. That's like, but it's a cap for something important. I
Yeah.
know it is. It's a charger for, whatever. It's that one thing. And there might be that random time that it's accurate, but quite often you've already lost the rest of it as well. So, what are you saving it for? That is a very real thing. The other thing that I came across was the rule of five. This one I really liked because it's answering quickly. And when you watch the hoarder show, that's what they want. They don't want you to have time to make excuses, delay, and ponder. They like first instinct, keep, sell, or throw out, whatever I think that's the three options. And so, that mindset, that having the proper perspective, I think helps you with these decisions. Like the clothes, going back to the clothes. So, if, say, you used to be a different size than you are now, and you're saving all those clothes, but somebody else could use those clothes. We've talked about that on different weeks about giving and the power of being able to help other people, how we feel good when we do so. So clothes are expensive, right? Or the same thing I just mentioned about making being created in sweatshops, that sort of thing. So if you can recycle your clothes instead of feeling like you need to hold on to them, feel like, well, what a blessing this is. I can give that to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a really big part of it as well. But I think those emotions that they mentioned, the anxiety and the guilt, I think it's part of what holds a lot of us back from decluttering. I think the other thing is too, and I don't know if anybody else has been in this moment, but I've had some jobs around the house I wanted to get to, and I overthink and overthink, do some stinking thinking. I think it's a really big job. Then I go in there, it's a fast job. And then I'm like, really? Seriously? That I can't even believe how fast that was. And then the other thing that's happened to me actually recently is my son Alec. Um, he came through and he cleaned some parts of my kitchen. And I noticed that they were clean. I can't tell you what he got rid of. And that was a real aha moment for me because I was like, nothing I'm gonna miss. Like he didn't throw, pots and pans and plates and dishes, but it was like that one shelf over this, like the top shelf over the stove. It's a bunch of probably candle holders I'll never use and a bunch of stuff. Now it's full of paper towels. And I didn't even know for like 3 weeks. And then he's like, did you look up there? And I'm like, wow. And then automatically my heart sank. And I'm like, well, where did you put everything? And then he's like, well, most of it was garbage and around. It's his classic answer, around. Because if I need it, I'll look for it. And then the few things I found were like these Powerball glasses from back in the day. And then I'm like, whose are these? He's like, well, they're yours, you dork. They were on the shelf. Well, now I think I threw them in the garbage because I didn't need them anyways and they're ridiculous. I need things I can actually consume things from. So it was really an eye opening moment to me that, like, what am I hoarding on to this stuff for? And, I wonder sometimes because I've restarted my life twice, like, when I split up from my first ex, I had a garbage bag. That was all my belongings. And then when I split up from my second ex, I upgraded. I had a dresser, 2 lawn chairs, and 3 garbage bags and a basket full of stuff. So I tend to wonder if in the back of my mind, if that's part of the reason why I tend to hoard on, or not, I'm not a hoarder. Like I can make it from here to the door and, function around my house, but I would like it to be more organized and things other people don't see. Like if I showed you this desk right here, you'd be like, wow, is there a desk under there? Because it looks like a lot of paper and post-its. So and again, it's only you versus you. So doing that, looking inside of yourself, and this is where you'll find the cynicism, right? That she talked about, but looking inside of yourself and realizing like, this is where I'm at. This is how I got here. And what's the next steps to move forward? Are we going to do it all in one day? Absolutely not. And you notice when happiness came into the house, she brought compassion and courage. So it does take compassion, it does take courage for change, just like you started at the beginning, right? That's
Yep.
where change starts with a decision. And setting, and again, going back a couple weeks ago, we were talking about setting goals. So maybe your goal is, my first project is going to be the coat closet or the junk drawer or just something that's small, and then that'll make you feel good and it'll inspire you. When I watch that hoarders show, it inspires me. I end up getting up and tidying something up. So, whatever works, but it's all about making that first step. What about you? What did you think?
Well, so what we do, what Michelle and I do, she says something that triggers, a post-it notes triggers, and vice versa. Now, I just want to say I am listening to her when I'm making a note because I'm going to come back, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to do something. I'm going to give some vulnerability in a minute,
Okay.
besides my little toy guys. But here's kind of the thing, because there's practical components like Michelle's talking about decluttering, and we're talking about practically like I was at somebody's place. I won't mention who they are, but Michelle might know who it is. And they had 10 leftover containers and 17 lids,
Oh, there you go.
just in case you lose a lid.
You never know when you could need a lid,
Yeah.
right? You never know.
And so, but I think, and not in all cases, I'm not going to make everything kind of like
That's right.
psychology, whatever, right? But I do believe there's correlations between it. So here's my vulnerability, right? So in my closet, if I took my laptop and showed you my closet, which I'm not going to do, um, I have I have a lot of these T-shirts, and a lot of my T-shirts. Let me put down a bit. So a lot of my T-shirts, sometimes in the show, I get home, I got shorts on, Michelle, and then I put a T-shirt on, and this is my comfortable things. The odd time you've caught me with more of a dress shirt, and that's because I just got in the door, right? So in my closet, I probably have 50 T-shirts, which is way too much.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean,
In my closet, I have, let's say, 15 or more, 15 or 20, no more than 20, T-shirts that are smaller sized with the tag still on.
Yeah.
And I'm down like 40 pounds. I want to lose more. So they're my reminder. But here's the funny thing. Now, I'm gonna own this. Because I'm just, T-shirts are just casual for me. I get them from Walmart. They're like $8 or $6, and they don't last. Not very good, right?
No.
So
Right.
I bet you in the last 2 years, I have a friend who has a business that he gets dirty. He's skinnier than me, but same kind of built on the shoulders. I have given him easily in 2 years 2 bags, black bags with about 30 to 40 shirts in them.
I love it. Awesome.
So, but in it, so the good thing is we talk about like setting a goal and rewarding yourself. So having these shirts that I have ready when I, get more, lose more weight and get my surgery and stuff.
That's good. Yeah.
That's a good thing, right?
It is.
But I realize there's with part of what she was saying, but there's an attachment thing. And so if you were raised poor, didn't have a lot, having a bit of a poverty mentality. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, by the way,
No,
but
no.
having like I don't know, what if I lose my job, and fear and anxiety, like some things. So sometimes you can have what I call not enough trauma,
Yep.
and it's actually trauma. It comes from your childhood, and I've got friends from third world countries, Africa. They cannot believe, it blows their minds. They cannot believe what we have and what we perceived we need, right?
Yeah.
So it's such a, and even if you got people coming from Europe and they see how big our homes are compared to these little places there, so we know it's like, so it's just such an interesting thing. But here's the thing, and Michele kind of, we say this honestly most of the time, it takes small steps. And here's the thing, for your wellness, for mental wellness, there's components that are practical like this, and we talked about laughter and these things that are kind of practical.
Yep.
They have a huge effect on us, our mental wellness and emotional wellness, right?
Oh.
So this idea of uncluttering our life to some degree actually affects us internally. It actually gives us strength and hope, right?
Yeah.
So this idea, one of I'm my background is a chef, like earlier in my life, when I was in Toronto, right? And so one of the things I was taught by the chef that I worked for, where I did my apprenticeship, clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go.
Yeah.
And I remember years later, anyways, I came out west and I finished at a big hotel where I got my red seal. And so there, I've worked with other chefs since, messy ones, clean ones, whatever. But this idea, learning from a guy who I respected, and I was young, I was like 17, I think, that stayed with me, right? So even now, like I live alone, I have my son on the weekends, and I have a dishwasher. I have like a small place, but I have a dishwasher and all that. I don't leave a few dishes in the sink. Like the odd time I might, depending like what my day's like, right? So this idea of keeping the clutter away
Right.
is an important thing. People who work through medicating or like different things, there's an avoidance. Another thing is avoidance.
Right.
And you talked about, here, you're going to laugh at me. I might need these. Nobody will know what these are, by the way, and they're broken. Okay, so the good news, Tom isn't crazy. I need to send a picture of that to, it's where I've had an ostomy. So it's where it's from the things that I used before. And they just need to know that they're like breaking, right?
Right.
2 out of 10, right? So, but if this is on my desk for another week, I'm going to throw it out. Then
Right.
I try to give myself a few weeks. Is your place really dusty?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would say.
Okay, I'm owning this, right? I dropped this cream that I use for my feet, and it fell in the bedroom like half an hour, and it rolled under the bed.
Uh-oh.
I go to get under the bed. What do you call a bunch of dust bunnies? A herd?
I think so.
Okay, so here's a sidebar. Now being silly, right? There's a whole bunch of us on there. Okay, where do dust bunnies come from? Where do they come from?
Mommy and daddy dust bunnies. What?
Yeah, so like I gotta I gotta talk to my son, the science of it. Again, a little sidebar again. My son, I went to an award ceremony last night. He's graduating, 4.0 student.
Well done. Where's my pom-pom? Hold on.
Yeah, he wants to be a scientist.
I love it.
He goes to university starting next year, but I don't think that I know we have anybody in our family that was a 4.0 student. Not that I know of.
No, I don't know.
That's like straight A's for the whole year, never different.
That's awesome. That's very good.
Neat. So,
proud moment.
So the science of dust bunnies, I gotta write that down. This hashtag science of
look
dust
it up.
bunnies.
Make a documentary.
I'm pretty sure there's a video on TikTok or something. But anyways, yeah. So what we're saying is part of there's a practical application. Michele and I talk about in the morning. Take a few seconds.
Yeah.
If you're a person of faith, a different faith, you may just quiet time or pray. Or I've got a Muslim friend that they have their rituals they do that is really important for them. And I use the language centering, right? So depending what you do, but if you want to be in control of yourself and your environment, learn get help, ask questions, share stuff with us, like Michelle said, and challenge yourself to declutter if it's a practical decluttering or an emotional decluttering.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that I thought of as you were talking is that set up your environment the way you want it. A lot of times, going back to your throughout your life, we have these preconceived notions of the way we think things should be. And maybe it's just habitual, maybe that's the way. So, for example, when I was a kid growing up on Saturday mornings, I was allowed to sleep in. I'd lay in my bed and I would hear, or I wouldn't hear anything. I would smell cleaning stuff. And then I would wake up, I'd come down, and my mom, she was 5 foot nothing. So she was this tiny, tiny little British woman. And while we were all sleeping, all three kids, my dad were all sleeping. She's downstairs, Betty Homemaker. She's got the chairs flipped up, hanging on the table. She's on her hands and knees. She's washing the floors. She used to iron the underwear, iron the bed, like do all that stuff, which is fabulous for her if she had joy in it, I guess. But for the child, it's a preconceived notion of this is how I should be. And for me, I do not do that on the regular. Like I do it on the regular, but not every Saturday morning the way she did it. And I don't know if mops weren't around, but she always did it on her hands and knees. So when it comes to, like in that video when she talked about guilt and cynicism, right away I've got that preconceived notion of that's what I should be doing. Yet in the real world, I have no interest in doing that. Like times have changed. We don't get as dirty as we used to. I don't even think I own an iron. Let's get real. So, but that still is the little seed that's planted in your head. And a lot of times, and this goes for everything in life, we tend to try to fit ourselves in other people's modes, and times have changed. Like
Yeah.
it's not even like it's a different time. Now we have, clothes that don't wrinkle. We have mops, we have Zumbas or Roombas. Those I want one of those
AI,
vacuums.
we have
Yeah,
AI.
we have so many different things. And since COVID, I talked about this last week, people don't just show up at your house. You know that they're coming. So you have, a little bit of that buffer. So I think that's important as well to just sort of ask yourself, not a pre-constructed thing that was created by somebody else. Are you trying to fit into that mold, or do something that makes you feel good? I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can't do. And some of the documentaries I watch, they're about normal houses on the outside. And then when you walk in, maybe everything in the house is your hockey team, or somebody else is into mermaids. Or I watched this one, oh my gosh, it was two girls. The one girl owned the house. Excuse me. Her roommate rented a room. The whole house was like a Barbie house. And then the girl that rented a room, black, 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 like black, right? Because they totally didn't jive on that level, but they were best friends. But I think, we're getting to the point where we realize as a society that we don't have to do things the way everybody else does it. If you want things differently or your own way, or they just make you feel good, damn it, then you should do that. One day I'm going to take a little video. You're going to find this funny, Tom. So I had thousands of pictures, whether it's from growing up. Me and Al used to have a big party the last Saturday of every month. It's when my kids were gone to my parents. So we'd have a big party, coworkers, friends. So I had all those pictures, then pictures from growing up, pictures from our reunions and meeting, our mom and our siblings and all that stuff. So, oh my gosh, must be about 10 years ago. I was never looking at these pictures, but I'm a very family community oriented person. I have a whole corner, like a whole corner in my kitchen, and it's from the top of the freezer. So it's a little chest freezer to the top of the room. it's all these people. You're in there a whole bunch of times, Tom. And it's just, and I used to do collages where I literally cut them out, ended up with some weird hair on people, whatever. So I decided not to do that again. But these are just literally the pictures. I've got your kids, I've got nieces and nephews that I think I've met them all now. Maybe not. Old coworkers. And as soon as I look at those, even though it is not updated, like I don't even think Gemma's in there, it just makes me feel so good and connected and makes everything else in the world just not even really matter. I'll take a
Yeah.
little video
So
sometime.
you hit on something, memory. So there's these
Yeah,
memories attached, right? But then
right.
you find, so who here that's live, or if you watch this later on YouTube, who here has a bunch of physical pictures and albums?
Mm,
And who has, no judgment, who has more than 20 albums? Because we're in a digital age now. So I
yeah,
bet you on my phone, I have over 3,000 pictures.
yep,
And I need to declutter it, by the way. And I like taking pictures of family or things that interest me, right?
yep,
Food, my coffee every morning type thing,
yep.
stupid stuff, right? But here's a couple of things I was thinking of, right? Because I'm thinking of some of the people I know that's on here, right? So, first of all, this idea of cluttering, and I'm learning this, I'm not saying it's, I have it bang on.
Mhm.
The older generation, that's what we knew. So I actually read something on this of post-war, coming out of World War II. And so there was something, and you talked about keepsakes and antiques. So there was something. I have this little joke. So I collect sports cards. I'm getting out of it because I was too crazy. But you have somebody who's going, people go, oh, but what if I have like the Wayne Gretzky card worth $1 million or whatever, right? So what if I have a Barbie? What if I have the Ken leg? It's only the leg, so it's not worth $1 million, but it's worth. So there's people. What if I have a like? So we
Yeah,
have these, and first of all, there's no judgment. Like if you're having a hard time getting rid of stuff, we're not, please
that's
don't
right.
hear we're judging you. We're
That's
just talking about a topic. But
yeah.
the younger generation, in my experience, and I know it's like with Nicole, with your daughter, they just don't care about a lot of crap.
No, absolutely right. I know. I
Yeah.
think I agree. I think the next group coming up, they're not as attached and they're probably sort of numb to it all. Where with
Yeah.
us, we watch so many changes in our lifetime,
Yeah.
right? Like I remember when we first got our Super Walmart, just that soup row, I was like,
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Michelle. So you talked about like the COVID thing.
yep,
Um, I had friends that are from the Middle East,
hmm,
Turkey, I think it is, something like that. In different cultures, they don't set a date for food. They just show up. And in that culture,
yeah,
some of them just show up at 10 o'clock
yeah,
and they're like, hey, like, so let's eat and hang out. And so one of the things that I love learning. So here's the other thing, this North American mindset,
yeah.
and actually the mindset from our generations, it's just the way it is. We know what we know type thing, right? We don't know what we don't know.
I heard
But
that.
so it kind of becomes an entrapment. So all of a sudden, if you're open to, here's another thing about decluttering. If you allow yourself to open to try new things, try new foods,
Yeah,
meet new people, if you're into a certain type of genre, try in movies or books or
yep,
whatever, try something else. Doesn't mean you're stuck there. But once we kind of create this it's a mindset of being open to change, right? Here's one of the thing, scientific fact. I could post
yeah.
it if I find. I think I was looking for the letter, I couldn't find it. Paper written. Decluttering releases stress.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So when we, and I know people that have dealt with loss of family members, right? Different all over. I've got a friend of mine in town 30 minutes from here who's a young child under the age of 5, accidentally passed away a couple of years ago. And they are just coming to terms of doing something in that room.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's not.
Understandably, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not what we're talking about. We have these keepsakes. We're working
that's
through
right.
our working through grief and all that. So that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
All of a sudden, if you allow yourself practically to not need 10,000 things.
Right.
Michelle said something too, seasonal things. I'm not a camping type guy, but my wife is, right?
Yeah.
To me, these seasonal things, I'm like, I don't know, if we haven't used that big tent, because she goes hiking with her girlfriends, and they have each individual tents and they do like stupid, crazy hikes, right? We haven't used a big tent in probably 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I would give it to a family that uses it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but what if we need it? But what
Right.
if, right? So the other thing I wrote down too is, here's a challenge, and I know some people have go through this. I don't know if you and Al go through this. It's that kind of thought of what is one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Yes, I was just writing something down like that.
See, we're thinking. So that there, like for the group here, it's easy. Like for some, if don't harass me, don't beat me up if I'm using a gender thing, right? A lot of times men have these sports things and kind of these crazy, like the man cave and that, and women are going, oh my word, please, like, you've got 17 pucks, you don't like whatever, right?
Right.
And then the man can go in the kitchen. Now I'm a cook, so I'm on that side. Well, what do you need all this equipment for? Like, this is crazy. Just put it on a plate, right? Why do you need 4 sizes of pots, right? So the thing is, if you're in a family, if you're in a family together,
Yeah.
if this is something, especially the ladies. Oh, by the way, I have 50 shirts, right?
Right.
I know ladies that have like 20, 30 shoes.
Oh, absolutely.
As a man, I have running shoes, I have my dress shoes, and my sandals. Well, I have 2 sets of running shoes. I have a new one and my old one that I wear to the gym, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying this like in a disrespectful way.
No.
I don't understand. Well, but I do know, like, oh, this got to match this dress and this. Like, I get it. It's not me.
Right.
It's not you either, right?
No.
But so it's interesting, kind of, and we're in this thing we do is called mental wellness.
Yeah.
It's totally interesting that once you start to declutter,
Yeah.
minimize, the effect it has on you, right?
That's right. Absolutely. And I think once you start doing it, and this is what happened with me. Once I started doing it with the clothing, then it overflowed into other things, right?
Yeah.
That, like, what do I really need this for? And I think one thing that's also very important is we can't have black or white thinking. So it's not either it's good or it's garbage, right? You have other options. You could give them away to somebody who you know could use it. So I could give stuff away to one of my girlfriends here, or maybe Nicole. I give a lot away to Nicole. I also go to Nicole's and I find a lot of my stuff in her cupboards. Just saying, Nicole, if you're watching. Anyways, that's another topic. But you could give stuff away that serves somebody else. You could also donate. And when you donate, not only are you helping someone else, but like if you give it to Value Village, you know that it's going to the diabetes association or whatever. Everybody, like, if you donate it to a church, quite often they have clothing closets, that sort of thing. So you get that satisfaction. And then the other thing, which I think sometimes people don't realize, sell it. Sell it on Mummy Marketplace, Kijiji, have a garage sale. Put some money back in your pocket. Take 10 things that are repetitive and redundant, sell them, and buy yourself one thing that you're going to love and you're going to wear all the time, or that new gadget that's, overpriced, or whatever it is. You can turn it into money and then get something that serves you better.
And here's the thing with that. So I sold my townhouse a couple of years ago. My wife and I won't go into a long story, but anyways, was able to buy a house up northern Alberta that was like 20% of the houses in BC, because BC is crazy.
Right.
And so put money in that. But I had, and I don't like overthink this, but I had this kind of childhood thing of when I was a kid, I collected hockey cards, and it was what we used to put them in the spokes of our wheels. But so I went on this kind of owning it. I went on a binge owning it.
Oh.
And And I don't know. I don't like, and here's the problem. I would buy like I do online breaks. So I buy these, getting these groups, and I hit some cards that were worth thousands and thousands of dollars.
Ooh.
And I remember like mailing them to get graded that, and the lady at the post office going, "My husband collects too," whatever. And so, anyways, right? It's kind of a guy thing mostly, right?
Yes.
So what I've been doing, I've been decluttering that because I just don't need it. I have some keepsakes that I like
Yeah,
Con
exactly.
Maple Leaf from the old days, Daryl Sittler or stuff like that, right? Paul Henderson, that, and and so I put it on in Chilliwack. It's a bidding site, so I put zero free. I'll put like auto Jersey cars, whatever, right? And the joy that the people that get it is, and finding a shirt, like if people go to Value Village or like that. So there again, that idea that what we think is like not really using whatever, it actually affects somebody else in a positive way. And in the day we live, because my sister's really practical, I'm learning to be better practically money wise. But what happens is you you now, like, you in our times, you realize that I can do this. I don't need, like, for me, being like my son on the weekend, so he's 18, he eats like a thing. He had
Oh,
the hardest time getting rid of stuff. We had not Lego, we had a Hero Factory, like a bin, big bin.
yep.
Could have sold for like $150, and like Playmobil to like dragons, count all the stuff. We eventually gave it to the sister, but my son didn't want to get rid of it,
Oh,
and he hadn't used it for years in the
right.
closet, right? But the other thing I was going to notice about minimizing is, for me in my situation, I noticed that my fridge is less food in it.
How does that make you feel?
Should I lay down on a couch when you say that? No. Um,
You want?
in a home, when me and my wife are separated, again, like I said, we're fine, see each other all the time, right? When we were together and we both cooked and
Yeah.
kind of different, I both love cooking, um, we would have just more stuff out of some of that. Like food wouldn't go
Good.
bad, right? I
No, right,
find I buy less now and food goes bad quicker for me now.
right,
Like I'll
right.
buy like arugula, and I like that. Like I like during the week when my son's not here, I have like a protein, chicken, whatever, and I have
Oh,
salad. That's my go-to, right?
nice. Yep,
But
yep, yep.
but I'm sounds weird. I feel better.
Good.
I've got like condiments like the ketchups and salad just,
Of
but
course.
I actually feel a little bit better,
Good. Excellent. Well,
right?
yeah, because you don't, when your fridge is busting full, you might feel like you have abundance, but you also might not know what half of it is because it's packed back, or what's the fresh pickles? I'm not sure, right? Because everybody opens every one or whatever. I found with me when I started keeping my fridge cleaned out better and being more minimalistic, because I hate throwing out food. I have a huge issue with that. So only buying what I need, teaching myself I don't have to buy something just because it's on sale. That's an issue. But then I had to just be okay with the fact that my fridge looks emptier, but that doesn't mean that I'm in lack.
See that mindset again.
Yeah,
We're talking about this poverty mindset, right?
exactly.
In England, we were in England years ago for almost a year, me and my wife and my son, and it was so weird in a way. So first of all, if you watch British shows, there's a great show called Escape to the Country, which is super cool. These English people sell their homes in the city and they move to the country, and we lived in the country. We were there. They 90% of them have half the fridge size that we have.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep,
Small fridges. And then
yep.
the other thing, I've never seen this in my life. When first we would go to the store, they would sell a half a loaf of bread.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
You know why? There's no preservatives. So
No,
even
because
a
it's
half
gonna.
loaf, it would go bad in 2, 3 days.
That's
So
right.
again, our North American mindset is pretty interesting, right? So
It
what we end
is.
up doing is like, again, I know, say it all the time, what we know and what we experience. um, Food. Here's going back to the question at the beginning. Do you eat sushi?
No,
How come?
because it
I
tastes
don't either, by the way.
because it tastes like ass.
Have you tasted it?
Yeah, I did actually. I'm not against trying something. My girlfriend and I 20 years ago went on a girls' trip to Niagara Falls. She goes, "Oh, I'm taking this wonderful." Japanese restaurant. And I'm like, okay, I tried it, wasn't for me. And then I just had something else. But no, I'll try just about anything.
So
And
for me, being in
yeah.
this industry, I worked at restaurants where I cleaned, like there's one place in Vancouver where on Sunday we would prep, we make all these big pots of meat sauce, like 20, 30 liters. I would clean, it was a Greek restaurant, I would clean squid and octopus and salmon because we're on the West Coast, right?
Right.
So I'm not a salmon fan, but and so here's a sidebar. Here's the thing to think about. If you've got stuff in your freezer that you haven't used for a while, just my freezer's emptier now because like I'm on Friday, my son and my wife come over, so I've got some baby shrimp I bought because on sale.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm actually going to do shrimp and an Alfredo sauce over some salmon. I don't normally eat salmon. Like I'm not. If I like fish, I like a fish and chip or a white fish, right? But I can eat it. It's just not my flavor, what
Yeah,
I like, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
But here's a little bit of a challenge for everybody is if you have stuff in your fridge or your freezer, especially because that's where things get lost.
Yeah.
Take a look in. Do it today. Do it after we're done. I know in the East Coast it's like 9 o'clock now and it's 6 here, or do it tomorrow. But take a look at something that you go, it's been there for a while. Put it in your fridge and find a way to use it. Here's a freebie I'm going to give you. This is totally free. We're not charging Michelle for this.
Totally free. Hold on. Let me get my pen and a post-it. Okay.
So here, I'm going to do this for you in the group if it's live, but you've got to post on our wall.
Yes.
If you have something in your freezer that you don't know what to do with,
Yeah.
if you need an idea to cook something, like
Ooh,
what
I
to
like
do,
that. Yeah.
put it on our wall and I will give you some ideas.
Okay.
One of my
Yeah.
practical things I want to do with mental wellness,
Mhm.
I I went through, and again, times are hard because of affordability, right?
Yeah.
Like I always say, like if the cleaner you eat, like the cleaner the food, and people go, well, I don't know what to do with a piece of like steak or well, chicken. People know, right? And in England, they threw everything in the slow cooker. By the way, in the
Yeah, I
morning, the
know.
slow cooker, and like everything tasted like stew, right?
Yeah.
But so here's the challenge. If you, and I'm going to put it in the group, like I'll type it in after, if you have something in your freezer to declutter you want to get rid of, and you're not sure, or if you just want an idea how to cook something different, put it on the wall and I'll help.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because
Yeah.
because here's the other thing. Talk about decluttering. Here's oh, by the way, I'm picking my wife's not here, so I'm picking on her. So she loves to cook and she cooks from a recipe book. And we
Yeah.
love Jamie Oliver and all these, we're kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
groupies, right?
Yep.
So we'll have a spice that we need for one recipe. I don't use recipes. I don't need them, right? We'll have a spice we use for one recipe, and it'll sit in our cupboard for 5 years,
Oh, I know. Oh, exactly.
and it has no value, right? The
Right.
other thing for those minimalists, right? With spices, by the way, if you buy like a package of dry spice, like as soon as you open it, like the flavor of it deteriorates. So if you have like a package of dill that you've had for fish and you haven't used it for 5 years, you can use it and you think, oh, I'm using it. It's just not a value. So here's the thing. Do you have we have a store here. You probably have something there. So we have a store here where people are trying to get away. Like you bring your own glass, your containers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I
Right.
don't know what they're called. You have one, right?
We do. We have a couple. We have there's one that's Great Lakes something something.
Yeah.
Bring all your
So
own containers. Yeah.
so I'm just talking about spices. I'm talking about, so I'm nerding out on food. Talking about, but if
Mm.
you want to declutter,
Can't
so
you do
one of
that
the
at
things
Bulk
is
Barn?
what's that?
Bulk Barn? Can't you do that at
And
the
ours
Bulk
is
Barn?
we have one here that it's like an individual private thing, right?
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, so here's the thing. Here's another freebie with spices. Clear out your spice cupboard. Get rid of all that
Yeah.
stuff, right? But here's what you can do. Go get little jars. I actually have some little canning jars about this big on my fridge that I bought that I'm going to use for some different stuff, right? But here's an idea. Get rid of all the stuff. If you haven't used like bay leaves in 20 years and you don't even know what a bay leaf is,
Right.
get rid of it, right? And what you can do, have your salt and pepper, if you like it like pour or just ground shake or whatever, to have that. Have have a few, like I think like Montreal steak spice or Mrs. Dash and all that.
Dash, yep, yep.
Yeah, and some people may have different thoughts on like the salt, all that. That's fine. Like whatever you're comfortable. Minimize, have, and then go to these stores, have a couple little jars, and you get a little bit
Yeah,
of oregano, a little bit of parsley,
that's
a
right.
little bit. And
Yeah.
if you're somebody who doesn't really cook a lot, like do you use a lot of spices on your, I was going to tease you, on your hot dog?
On my hot dogs, yeah, not on my hot dogs, but on we do because we eat a lot of boneless, skinless chicken. So
Nice.
I do. I end up putting a lot of spices on, or I cook it in different things. Sometimes it's honey garlic sauce. I don't know, whatever. Depends what
Yep.
I'm ever, but there's always something. It's
And
never
Robert cooks too, right?
Robert. Sometimes, yeah, he does. Actually, everybody does
Yeah.
in the house. Alec is probably the best one. He
I was
is,
thinking of Alex. Sorry, I was thinking Alex.
yeah, that's okay. Yep, he bought his own little freezer in the basement, and he goes grocery shopping every Sunday night, gets steaks and all
Yeah.
sorts, and he pops
Another
up pots and pans.
another freebie for people. If you don't know kind of this, you see it at Canadian Tire, or whatever. An induction cooker, a tabletop induction cooker that you plug in, 110 watts. So it's like a. I'll put a picture of one on there. They're not expensive actually. If you want to like not turn on your stove or do this or different things, these induction cookers, and you can put a pot on them. They're just cool to touch. They are like brilliant, and they use, for the most part, less energy, right? So again, when during the week when I have a little Emerald Lagasse. It's like a induction cooker. It's not an air fryer or something like that. I cook my chicken in it all the time, so it's a
Okay.
it's not conventional. It's a convex air, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
it has a fan. Has a fan, right? So the chicken I get in there is nice and crispy on the outside,
Juice.
and it is the most juiciest, flavorful chicken inside.
I love
So again, having little things, like if you're in a bigger family, do your bigger family stuff, right? Italian style, family style.
Sure.
But so part of I've learned being having my place by myself for like 4 days of the week. I simplify what I used to cook.
exactly.
And again, like I said, I know what I eat. Like I'm on a journey. I want to lose more weight, so I go protein and salad. That's my go-to.
Nice.
Yeah. So part of going, so the decluttering thing, the main thing I was going to say, and then Michelle can finish off or do whatever, unless
Right.
we stay here for another hour. But anyways, thing I was going to say is the first step for decluttering is this.
Yes, exactly.
And Michelle is, and the video was brilliant. So make sure you share because I'll bug you. Believe in yourself, that have the courage. You have courage, just have it. Just take it out of your pocket, and just say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to look at my closet. Another freebie, because we live in a time where all of our time is sucked out of us. Everything, like you have no brain, you don't have no time to stop and rest, right?
Right.
If you have an opportunity, depending on your lifestyle, where you're at, I'll tell you, you want to learn something about change, go volunteer somewhere.
Yes.
You don't have to do it forever. But go step out of your box, and depending what you like and stuff like that. I play guitar and that and sing. I used to do stuff in old age homes, and there'd be one home I remember doing was dementia. So a lot of them was just like there was a locked facility and stuff. And first of all, how some of them who aren't even talking now would respond to music, because music is
amazing.
We'll talk about music sometime. That'll be fun.
Love to. Yeah.
But you would see some of them respond, and I'm not even joking. Like Michelle and I were talking about, like giving stuff away. When you give your time away, there's something so rich and intrinsic that, I'm sorry, I didn't say it right, but it's so rich for us, right? When Michelle went across the country and her daughter and gave hugs, and she just had this idea and thought and dream, the cost of it sleeping in cars sometimes, and it's a long drive. I've driven the other way. Like, so if you haven't driven across Canada, it's long. And I know this for sure. Michelle went back, and I'm assuming Nicole too. The cost of that, like just of time and energy and support and all that, you wouldn't trade it for the world. So rich, right?
So true. Yeah, so true.
So decluttering, and that reason I'm saying that, and decluttering in your way of thinking and lifestyle, one of the way it sounds like it's an opposite. One of the way you learn to declutter a little bit is adding something you haven't done. You don't have to do it forever. You don't have to do it forever, but adding something that is going to enrich you in a way. It doesn't have to do it all the time. It could be whatever, right? Volunteer for a walk, right? So that's all I got, sis. What are you thinking?
Good stuff. So I just want to add, if your freezers, this is my non-related economical tip, energy saving. If your freezer is very empty for whatever reason, mine is because Alec took all his stuff off and put it in his own freezer. Now I'm like, oh, now I'm living in lack. But anyways, if you fill that freezer full of paper towels or toilet paper, your freezer isn't going to work as hard. So what if you have cold toilet paper? Don't judge me. But it's true. So if it's just empty air, your motor on your freezer is working all the time. If you have something in there that can hold the cold, it's going to be a lot easier on the lifespan of your appliance, and it's going to keep your energy bills low. So I have a quote for you today. And if my friend Wendy is not her sister Wendy, a different Wendy, or anybody else who saw me a couple hours ago live, it's the same quote, but it really, I think, ties in nicely. Action is the antidote to despair. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
You're gonna laugh. Somebody just told me that like last week. So, but here's an idea. So I kind of get these brain farts, or whatever you call them, right? You know what we need to do with our quotes?
What?
Is I think we should type them on our page
We can, yeah.
when we're done.
Absolutely.
Because you'll say something and I go, oh, that was great. And I don't want, like, whatever. I do listen to our things once in a while. I don't want to go listen to us again.
I never even, I've been doing videos for 10 years, way before I turned into a wellness coach. I've never watched them because I hate them. I'm like about a minute in, I'm like, is that what I sound like? Excellent. Because I'm not going to take it back. I'm not going to redo it. That's not how I roll. It comes out and it is what it is. So I don't watch or listen.
And that's why, for those that are watching it live and those watch it later, we're two people. We're people like you. We've been through ups and downs of lives.
Just like you.
Like if you've been raised in a home and you are financially secure in a home as a child and through life, and you have a really good job, not that, like, you're blessed and it's great, awesome for you. But see, this understanding each other through our diversity is really, really important, because we do become stronger. Like the generational thing's so important to me, like not in some crazy way. It's important to me, Michelle, because I'm in the 60s. So trying to understand the people like mom born in the 40s,
right,
and that we didn't have technology. How much more? They had a stone and a stick, maybe, right?
Right.
Like I've gone back and looked at for 60 years, and I looked at different things we have. I'm overwhelmed, especially the last 30 years, of how quick things are.
That's exactly right.
So the thing is, keep care of yourself. Do your own check-in with yourself. If you need help and support, reach out to me or Michelle. Reach out to people in the group. That's what we're here for. Don't struggle alone, please. If you got tips and ideas, like Michelle said, share them. That's where we're here. We're stronger as a community. Things that isolate us, like depression and stress and fear, aren't healthy. So one of these first steps is buddy up with somebody, right?
That's exactly right. Our good vibe tribe. For sure. So friendly reminder, feel free to use that page. Don't make eye contact with Tom. Just
Who
like
is that?
it's the guy with the stick.
He's from a series that was really
Oh, I don't know.
Jon Snow,
From,
Game of Thrones.
see, I don't know. If you're one of those people that also
Who's that?
you're my people. That's a Star Trek guy. Am I right?
I see these little things, and I'm going through a childhood thing. I need counseling and therapy.
Yeah, we all
But
do.
anyways, everybody have a
Anyways,
great time. So good to
have a
see
great week.
many,
Don't
many of you
forget
on here.
how
There's new people.
capable and able you are of change and all your dreams coming through, coming true, whatever. We're just going to rhyme it out at the end in case I need a rap career in my future. So, everybody, have a great week. Feel free to use the page, post on there, share, cry out, I need help, or what do I do with this weird looking meat I found in the back of my freezer? And Tom will help you out. We're going to regroup here next week. We don't know what the topic is yet. We're always accepting topic suggestions too. So, because as we've mentioned before, they all tie in together one way or another, right? We're always recapping, growing, and learning. So, if there's something that's really resonating with you or really grinding your gears, if you will, share it on the page. We'll get back to you in live time if we can, or bring it up in the group. I know Tom, he looks at the other thing, but with my computer, I can see what you're writing right there. So we're going to answer like interactive, right? So feel free to share. And thanks for supporting us and just meeting with us every week. I love it. I love spending time with Tom. I love spending time with all of you. And those of you that just joined us this week, so glad you're here. So we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Don't forget how absolutely amazing you are. Done and
Bye,
done.
everybody.
Bye bye.